Yo, what up everyone? Today I have another guide for you guys, or to be exact, a video about the most common mistakes players do so you can learn from them and avoid them in the future to improve your gameplay. I'm offering free coaching or VOD reviews on my Twitch channel for over a year now and have coached more than 100 players, and these are the most common mistakes that I do see. I've coached everything from brand new players to the highest levels of 6 stars, and I'm sure that at least one of these mistakes will be one you do yourself and will make you a better player once you're working on it. The very first mistake a lot of players do is even before they join a game, and that is setting up their loadout. A lot of players often double down on one range and don't create a harmony to balance out their primary weapon's weakness. I'm going to give you two examples to explain what I mean. First one is a sniper loadout. A lot of players want to make sure they have a lot of bullets to shoot and stack ammo to get more headshots when sniping. And for example, bring a Sparks pistol with a Crytek sniper to maximize ammo count. But this is actually a bad idea, because in every Hunt Showdown match there will be a point in time during the match at which you will have to push to finish a team, maybe kill the last player, or when you are getting pushed or getting caught off guard and have to fight back at medium or close range. In those scenarios, the Sparks pistol will definitely let you down, and a sniper is not necessarily built to be used at low ranges up to like 20-30 meters. In this case, it would be the best idea to bring a fast firing secondary or a pocket shotgun to make up for your sniper's weakness, which is losing fights at close range, since you will be dominating with your sniper rifle at long range engagements. Examples for that are an officer, a Dolch, a pistol combined with fanning, or even a quartermaster medium slot weapon like a bow or Bornheim match, for example. In the second loadout example, players will often combine the Romero, shotgun in general, with for example a New Army, a Bornheim, a conversion pistol with FMJ, which aren't best pistols at all. I would highly recommend putting them into other loadouts, but they do lack firepower and range, which basically makes you highly vulnerable when fighting at medium to long range, which is also your shotgun's weakness. It can work out if you hit headshots, but you will most likely struggle when you don't. In a shotgun loadout, it probably would be much better to bring a pistol like a PAX True Shot, a LeMat, a medium slot rifle, or anything with faster velocities to enable yourself to fight back against rifle players when you have to. You kinda want to create a yin and yang scenario in your loadout. For example, when your primary is weak at close range, you want to have a secondary that is more dominant at close range engagements, and vice versa. This way you will never be caught off guard and will always have a loadout that is at least viable at any range. The second mistake is not using opportunities and hesitating when having the advantage. The best example for that is not turning up aggression after getting kills and allowing your enemy team to revive and come back from a disadvantage in numbers. Once you do get a kill, it is your time to make sure to keep the momentum going and finish the fight. So many times I win games when playing with friends because the enemies allow us to revive over and over and over again, until eventually we do get a kill and don't let them come back. Especially with the addition of the recovery shot, health restoration perks, and other ways to get bars back, it is very important to tighten your grip on your enemy team once you have gotten a kill. Mistake number 3. The third mistake I commonly see when coaching players is not paying attention to your opponent's loadout. The best example for that would be if a player shoots at you from 40 to 80 meters, like kinda medium to long ranges, with a pistol. It probably means that that is their best option to fight at that range. And that also means that they will most likely have a close range primary, and you should be very careful when pushing to avoid dying to their shotgun, bow or crossbow. It doesn't mean you have to stay at 100 meters, just to be clear, but maybe don't get closer than 20 meters unless you think you can get the kill or you've figured out what the loadout actually looks like. Mistake number 4. The next mistake is when using Darkside, a lot of players only scan in one direction and are wasting their Darkside boost. Quite often you can get so much more information by doing a quick 360 spin around you when having Darkside to see where everybody is. So many times I've coached people and they are tunnel visioning on the very first enemy they see in Darkside. And as soon as they see one orange dot, they stop looking around, they fix it on that orange dot, and then a couple of seconds later, they get shot in the back, while their death would have been very avoidable if they would have scanned correctly and checked behind them before making a play. Mistake number 5 is not being close to cover and dying in the open. This is probably the most common mistake that I do see when I do coaching, and everyone, including myself, has to constantly work on it. This means that players put themselves in a bad position in which they either have to hit a headshot, aka they rely too much on their aim, or are going to be dead due to a lack of options or being too far away from soft or hard cover to heal after getting tagged. A lot of people, when I coach them, complain about being very inconsistent, and they have sometimes an amazing hunt day, the next day they have a bad hunt day, and they're usually pinpointed at, my aim is very inconsistent. While that is probably true, but at the same time everyone's aim is very inconsistent because everybody has good and bad days when it comes to aim. The difference is that a good player will allow themselves to miss. In this example, hard cover means something like a wall or a box that is hard or impossible to be wallbanged through, or you take cover behind a bush, anything that breaks a direct line of sight to your enemy. So you maybe have a short breather to use a vitality shot. I talked about that in my last video, but for a lot of good players like Rakta, Hornet, Wombus or me for example, the difference between us and other players rarely ever is that we hit every singular shot. But we position ourselves in a way that we are still okay when we miss a shot or are getting tagged. We basically just make sure that we are surviving until we win. If you miss 10 shots in a row, we stay alive until the 11th shot ends up being the headshot. Not because we hit every singular shot. The best way to work on this is to ask yourself every 5 to 10 seconds during a fight if you are in a good spot to fight from. And if not, you adjust. And eventually it will become second nature to you to position yourself better and pay active attention to what kind of positions you want to play from. And you will naturally avoid running out in the open and thinking to yourself, damn, why did I die here? Mistake number 6. Players do not buy resilience. Resilience is probably the most valuable trait in the entire game. Not the best one, but the best valuable trait. It allows you to stand up with all your remaining bars fully healed up. And this basically allows you to instantly being able to fight or have a better chance to take cover after being revived, especially when being revived in combination with Necromancer. This makes it a no-brainer to run once you know about it. Especially in randoms, I often witness people not buying resilience and dying to a leg or arm shot while trying to fight for their life. Resilience will stop you from dying to a leg shot after being revived and will save you precious time that you get to fight back, react, instead of having to take cover and being out of the fight for more seconds than you would like to be. Mistake number 7 is constantly repeaking the very same angle. This mistake means that you are making yourself too easy of a target. For example, when peeking a window for the very first time, your enemy will look at the window and will most likely have their gun pointed at it, hoping for you to repeek. Which gives them a much easier shot if you decide to poke your head out again, since you're basically just positioning your head inside the iron sights and they will simply just have to press mouse 1 and will most likely get a kill or at the very least tag you. This is something you should try to avoid. Always change up your angle ever so slightly after every peek to become less predictable. There are more nuances and there's finesse to it. Sometimes you should repeak, sometimes you shouldn't, but as a general train of thought, avoid repeaking the same angle. Even peeking the left or the right side of a box can make the difference. You want to keep your enemy guessing and react to you and not give them easier shots. It's much more likely that they're gonna miss a flick shot on you than them missing when they already have their gun pointed at you. Mistake number 8. Not healing up fully and not using your regeneration shot before a fight starts. So many times I see especially less experienced players not healing all their bars and risking it because they don't want to use their medkit to heal the last small bar, which then ends up with them dying to a long rifle to the upper body, which they would have survived if they would have healed. This also applies to being tagged first, not having done anything and just deciding to re-peek in the direction you just got shot from, and then dying to a double tap before healing up again. I want to say the number one thing when I do coaching, especially for lower elo players, that people die to. And it is so easily avoidable. Also, a lot of people run regen shots, but forget that their value is to have them running during a fight, so you can react to your enemy and heal up in between reloads, or while repositioning, or while you do anything but healing yourself. Or save yourself a wit shot because you can just use the medkit and be fully healed. So take their regen shot once they have been hit, and then suddenly a moment where they didn't need to heal develops into a moment during which they have to use their regen shot and then a medkit on top of that, which will then give the enemy a lot of time to push them or simply take them out of the fight for like 10 seconds, which is time they cannot help their teammates. Using heals also gives audio cues, which alerts your enemy that you're currently not able to fight back, which means that they maybe push you or they will simply ignore you. The regen shot can help you to clutch fights. Like in this example here, you can see how I used the regen shot before the fight started and could concentrate on building up my advantage by looting a weapon, redowning an enemy, while if I had to heal I probably would have lost the fight because either they would have gotten a free revive because I would have had less time to pick up some oath in here, or they would have pushed me because they hear that I'm healing, which means they get like basically free reign.
Nice.
Mistake number 9 is not having a game plan during a fight. Let me draw you a picture. Your teammates are down and you are in a 1v1 situation against the last remaining player of the enemy team. You are both contesting and try to stop each other from reviving while also trying to not lose. A lot of players will simply try to react to whatever the enemy does and either win or lose the gunfight by hitting a headshot or them getting headshotted. But a good player will have a plan. For example, when I'm in a fight and I know my teammates are close to me, the next goal I set myself is as soon as I hit my enemy, and that means the millisecond I have tagged them, I will start to necromancer one of my teammates, or start a buddy revive if possible, to turn the tides in my favor. There is no thinking in between. I will not tag them and think about reviving, no. I go into the situation with, I'm looking for a buddy tag here, so I can revive. Because after I tag them, I will have a tiny time window of like 2 to 3 seconds, during which they will heal up because they don't want to lose either, which allows me to make a play. Having that mindset and having a plan to follow, first of all, takes a lot of stress off your shoulders, and also allows you to work on your own strategies. Whatever your plan may be, it could be trying to get the high ground over your enemy to get a better position, using a tag to push with your shotgun, or forcing your enemy in a bad position by burning their teammates. It doesn't matter what your plan is, but do have a plan and don't just react to what your enemy does, because that will most often end up with you losing. Or at the very least will create awkward stalemates when nothing happens for like 5 minutes. The last mistake, but definitely not the least, is bad crosshair placement. Mistake number 10 is bad crosshair placement. For anyone who doesn't know what this term means, it means aiming where you expect your enemy to be next. While flicking around your screen seems like the pinnacle of skill, it is not how you get good at FPS games. And flick shots are only a break in case of emergency move to save yourself. They take a lot of skill, but if you rely on flick shots, you will quite often end up losing because it's impossible to have 100% accuracy on flick shots. But if you position your gun to where your enemy is most likely gonna peek out from next, you will have a very high likelihood to to be able to hit your shot while like slightly adjusting your gun to make sure you hit the shot. This is a common mistake in so many FPS games, so Hunt is not an exception to this. A lot of you guys probably watched a YouTube highlight and were thinking afterwards, damn, I could have done this, let's play this gun, this is easy, I can hit those headshots. While the reality is that good crosshair placement makes shots look much easier than they are, and it's actually a very important skill. But something that you can work on quite easily. You go into the game, same with what I said earlier about positioning, doing a fight every 5 to 10 seconds. Make sure to think about where to aim. Don't flick around the screen, just try to predict where you would go next, put your gun there, and over time you will improve and your crosshair placement will get better. But this was it for the video. Let me know which one of those 10 mistakes is the one that you identify with the most. I hope this video will help you to improve at Hunt. I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you for watching, have a good one, and bye bye.